If you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less, so how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually, they're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, you know, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it.
What makes me a liberal, what makes my colleagues liberals, is an unwavering belief that an economy is only strong when it serves everyone. Because in society, people can slip through the cracks. They can be left behind. And that was the reality for far too many Canadians, even before President Trump's tariffs, and now because of them, many more Canadians are at risk. President Trump is in the process of trying to fundamentally restructure the U.S. economy, and that means that our economy here needs to change dramatically as well. And as I made clear to President Trump in our call last week, I will reject all attempts to weaken Canada, all attempts to wear us down, to break us down so that America can own us. That will never, ever happen.
On our response, all I can say is that there will be one. It will happen at the appropriate moment after the expected announcement later this evening. And concerning your question whether we've done maths on the potential impact on the European economy of such measures, the answer is yes, of course. I'm not going to present any of that analysis here now. There'll be a time for doing that in the coming days and weeks. But right now we're just in we're in waiting mode, and we will issue our formal European Union response at the appropriate moment.
I agree with President Trump that others are taking unfair advantage of the current rules, and I'm ready to support any efforts to make the global trading system fit for the realities of the global economy. But I also want to be clear. Reaching for tariffs as your first and last tool will not fix it. This is why, from the outset, we have always been ready to negotiate with the United States to remove the remaining barriers to transatlantic trade. At the same time, we are prepared to respond. We are already finalizing the first package of countermeasures in response to tariffs on steel, and we're now preparing for further countermeasures to protect our interests and our businesses if negotiations fail.
It would be really a perfect storm. In Southeast Michigan, our biggest trading partners are Canada and Mexico, and our biggest industry is the mobility industry. So much of what we do in Southeast Michigan is tied to that industry, and every vehicle has parts made in Canada and Mexico. So it would be devastating. And, part of it, as you just shared, is the uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty as we enter this week where so much is supposed to happen. I think industries are really paralyzed to try to understand how to move forward. They see a vehicle goes across the border, at least here in Michigan, 6 to 8 times before it's actually produced. And those are the traditional sort of Detroit big three that we would consider American-made cars. So I understand the president's comments, but when you get down into what percentage of parts in an American-made car are built and produced and manufactured either in Canada or Mexico, it's a really high number, which means those tariffs are going to impact the kind of big three autos, the big three Detroit manufacturers that we all think are local.
You think this could lead to job losses in Rochester Hills?
I think it could very quickly. I think most of the folks I'm talking to say, they can survive this kind of back and forth for about maybe 30 days. They've been preparing to try to have supply here, to try to handle supply chains. But if this is something that we're waiting for jobs to repatriate back to the United States, we know that that's a great and wonderful plan. We're all supportive of that. But that can take 24 to 36 months. And most companies wouldn't be operating at the same levels they are now if you have this tariff environment for 2 or 3 years. It simply couldn't be the same.